Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody is having a wonderful morning so far. Welcome back to the program, everybody. The name of this program is called It's a Conspiracy, but It Ain't No Theory. My name is Adrian Alice. I am a singer-songwriter, author, model, musician. I am the author of a 2-part book series called Lucy's Lair, Part 1 and Part 2. A book series reflecting my life as a survivor of rape culture and child sex trafficking. Alright, so today is January 12th, Thursday, January 12th, 2023, and the time I have right now is 7:34 a.m., so that's what time I began recording this today. And so on this program, I will be discussing today and reviewing my experience with the gang stalking, and primarily focusing on the remote gang stalking, finishing up where basically I left off yesterday. And I'm going to be going over this quite a bit, so if I've already mentioned something, it's just because it's worth mentioning again. So, like I was saying, the gang stalking, the remote gang stalking, the cyber torture, the satellite torture, the no-touch torture, and the slow kill programs. Another one of the things that I really enjoy going over, and I like talking about on this program, is the spiritual warfare component to the gang stalking, the ritual of gang stalking. Alright, so gang stalking and remote gang stalking is part of a satanic occult ritualistic practice. And I talk about that a lot because it has a lot to do with MK Ultra, mind control, mind manipulation, dream altering, dream manipulation, hypnosis, black magic, witchcraft. All of this is the same doctor, so to speak. Or rather, I should say the same witch doctor, because that's technically what it is. Alright, and so before I go any further, I'd just like to start the program off with a little prayer, given that the targeted individuals that are being gang stalked and the people who are discussing this topic their voices are being silenced, and their voices deserve to be heard, and it's slowly but surely just being swept under the rug. Before I go any further, I would just like to lift that magic carpet and expose the dirt and the skeleton and bones that are under there, and start this whole entire program off with a blessing. So, dear Heavenly Father, I come before you today not to ask for anything, but just to say thank you for all that I have. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Amen. So, God is good all the time. The experiences of targeted individuals are difficult to explain and even more difficult to believe. And I'd like to take a moment of silence before I go any further. Alright, so that moment of silence is dedicated to those no longer with us. Rest in peace. This entire program is dedicated to those targeted individuals, the victims and the survivors, and just to the entire targeted individual community. All right, so I seen on the news yesterday, January 11th, 2023, on a Wednesday, I had seen somewhere in the mainstream media that U.S. flights resume after FAA system outrage. So all U.S. domestic flights grounded as key FAA system goes down. And so that was for yesterday. That was mainstream media yesterday. Now, I think it's really interesting how much they're trying to make it seem as if people who are poor or in middle or lower class society don't have the same privileges as they do. So why is it that just the domestic flights take the ground? You know, why is it not that all the people with private jets and private planes, how come they still get to fly? I mean, obviously, it's very, very clearly a punishment. It's occult aggression. And anybody who sees it as anything else has a lot of inner reflecting to do. You have a lot of research to catch up on. I mean, have you been sleeping under a rock for the last 3 years? What type of hypnosis trance are you under? And I mean, are you able to snap out of it at this point? Or are you so far gone that like you're gay now or something because the world has molded you into it, right? Or I'm just saying, like, a lot of people aren't really actually gay. It's actually pretty sad. It's heartbreaking. They're just really confused with all of this satanic, occult, ritualistic punishment and practices. And you know, transphobic isn't a real thing, because transgender isn't a real thing. Somebody just came along and made that shit up. So I got one for you. Orphanphobic. I made that one up myself. The powers that be and all these rich people who get to fly their private jets and planes, they are so orphanphobic. It's not even fucking funny. And I can actually say that word because I made that word up. You can't say that word. Also, too, you're not allowed to say cunt nugget. That's my word only. You can't say it. That's the word I use to describe. Those are the words I use to describe celebrity lapdogs, also known as gang stalkers. So while they watch us from their satellites and abuse us from their satellites or their UFOs in the sky or whatever it is that they have access to that we do not, because we can't even fucking get on an airplane without being discriminated against. So unfortunately, people keep taking quite literally, the fall. And this occult and their aggressions are being put on everybody else around me. Like, everybody else keeps getting hit. Everybody else keeps getting broken into. Everybody else except for me. Well, I mean, me too. Obviously, my phone was hacked. That is technically being broken into. Which I think it's really interesting in Harry Potter how they portrayed that specific magic mirror, because in Harry Potter, when they're showing the part of him having to break into some chamber or basement or just whatever, it shows him having to sneak access, basically, or, you know, break in to get into the space or area or facility that had the magic mirror in the first place, which is all just symbolic for hacking and phishing. And so, you know, they're able to hack robotic toilets and to watch people poop and pee and use the restroom. Of course, I know that sounds crazy, but AI uses these robotic toilets to track diseases as well as all of the devices. And so that's how they know if there's a virus or if there's whatever, you know, if there's cancer, if somebody's got cancer, they track it. They're using AI. So the government is definitely using alien technology to track certain things like diseases, racism, or whatever. They just slap a logo on something and then it becomes whatever they say it is, because these people have money and I don't, and so their words matter and mine don't. I mean, that's literally their logic, right? And they don't leave any room for criticism. If you criticize them, you will fucking die. Alright, so anyways, what's up everybody? How's everybody fucking feeling today? I woke up feeling pretty fly. I woke up feeling pretty dope. I woke up feeling pretty great. Not gonna lie. Loving life to the fullest. This is a little bit of a nuisance, I'm not gonna lie. Not a little bit, a lot of it. And of course my life would have greatly taken a different direction if it weren't for the MK Ultra and the hypnosis and the stay behind gang stalking operatives that terrorize my family and I to death and have murdered members of a member of Duran's family. And all of this is obviously just to be like, fuck you, you know, a big giant fuck you from anybody who doesn't want the same thing being done. And you know what? You can't stop change. Change is inevitable. The only thing that you can absolutely guarantee on this planet and in this world and in this dimension is the fact that things are going to change. And that's good, because that means whoever's on the bottom is going to be on the top, and whoever's on the top is eventually going to work themselves down, exactly like they are every time I open my mouth. So, and then this curse ends with me. So the fact that, you know, my kids and my grandchildren will have access to these videos, this is not going to be a generational curse. You are not going to be gang stalking my children and my grandchildren. It starts and ends with me, period. Alright, so this program is dedicated to exposing conspiracies, the conspirators that have conspired against me and my fiance's family. Those conspirators are called gang stalkers, or remote gang stalkers, or cyber terrorists. This is such a deep operation, this is such a deep covert undercover operation that when you discuss this topic, you almost have to approach the topic as if you're talking about a friend. So like if you were gay and you wanted to come out of the closet, you wouldn't just straight up be like, oh hey, by the way, I'm gay, right? You want to test the waters or whatever first, and then by doing that you'd be like, hey, I got a friend that's gay, do you think they should come out or not? That's kind of how you would approach this specific topic. Because it's not something that, I mean, unless you like to be gaslit and called crazy, it's not really a topic. It's not a small talk discussion, right? It's a deep, deep discussion, and it needs to be discussed. And so everybody who is discussing this topic or claims to be discussing gang stalking, is a gang stalker, because most people who are talking about it can't talk about it. They get silenced, they get harassed, they get gang stalked. There's so many little tactics that they set up and prearrange and preordain ahead of time to incite terror stalkers. So that means whatever the target is doing, they're employing these terror stalkers to incite fear, in order to control the mind, in order to control the body, in order to control the behavior. And they do this using several different things, several different tactics, several different strategies. I mean, just think about the most toxic, narcissistic, psychopathic person that you've ever known. Now, if they were a millionaire, celebrity, billionaire, all the things that they've done, they could just buy their way out of. They can just pay people hush money, and everybody, of course, tis the season when they have a new scapegoat. And that's another one of the things too, is it's like once the person is aware, like once I became aware of what was happening to me, they lose interest, because it's all about the thrill seeking for them. They don't have any interest in somebody who becomes aware of what's going on around them and then speaks out upon it because they don't agree. They don't have any interest. Once somebody knows the thrill behind the adrenochrome harvesting, the energy harvesting, the soulscaping, it's gone. It's worthless at that point. If this person that they're engaging with, this target that they're engaging with, is clearly bothered and wants nothing to do with it, and once they become aware, they leave it for dead. They torture it they let the gang stalkers torture it. Once they've taken the slave for all that it has, its soul, It's voice, it's everything. It's money, it's image, it's identity. Once they've taken it, they leave it, and then they torture it, and they try to silence it and keep it isolated from the rest of the world. And if it gets a job, they harass and stalk it there. If it moves, they move next door. If it goes to the store, it's publicly harassed and shamed in front of the entire facility of people, or the store, or whatever it is that they're. If they walk up to somebody and they ask them a question, this person automatically, if they work for, let's say, the welfare system or the DSHS, if they become so broken down, which is what the program is intended. So they want to facilitate impoverishment, and that's kind of what the Go Woke, Go Broke motto is for. So, you know, there is a war against the middle class in order to make them completely homeless, in order to control them. You can't control people if they have money. They're free. The only way that people can be controlled is if they don't have any money, and if they're able to be hypnotized and controlled. So once people start making money, they start gaining power. And so then the game switches, right? So one of the reasons why a targeted individual is spearphished and then continuously targeted is to make sure that they're not ever able to make any money, or to have any support, or to have any support system. And every single thing that they've come to know has been like, I used to have an amazing relationship with my foster family before the pandemic started. And I can't say that much is true now. Because of all of this racial tension, and of course, it's you, me. It's never, okay, so if you're so mighty and you're so powerful, then why are you so evil and hateful? What bothers you about a pure spirit so much? All right, so like I was saying, there is no compromising with these gang stalkers, remote gang stalkers, and celebrity lapdogs and the military. There's no compromising. They treat their targeted spirit individual, the one that they victimized, they treat that one as if that person is a terrorist. And so there's no compromising in their eyes and in their minds. They don't negotiate with the terrorist, and that's exactly how everybody on the planet is treated, regardless. So it doesn't matter one way or another, and the only real way somebody can get any justice is if they can get an attorney. And I mean, these slow kill torture programs are intended to make sure that nobody supports these people, and people are so afraid of what will happen to them if they do speak on their behalf or try to support them in any type of way, what may or may not happen to their family members for supporting somebody that's been technically considered a enemy of the state, public enemy number one. There's really no other way to put that nicely, because there's nothing nice about that, right? So of course it's just an ongoing war, and every day is truly a gift, and every day is truly a blessing. So I'm grateful to be here, and wonderful. It's a wonderful feeling knowing that I am still here to share my story and my experience with this alien technology and these remote gang stalkers and these physical gang stalkers, which it's just a nice way of saying, it's a nice word for saying terrorist. They're terrorists. They're terror stalkers. And they have to continue to terror stalk somebody once they've hacked them, spied on them, phished them, in order to keep the target completely silent and voiceless. This is how they're doing it. So this is the operation, mind control operations that take the form of flesh, and terror stalkers will incite some sort of intimidation tactic in order to keep the person's mind under a constant state of perpetual fear and confusion, and also to control their body and their behavior. So spear phishing is when somebody's data has been siphoned. Hacking and phishing are like some of the more common methods of spying and pranking. You send the unwanted text messages or the scam phone calls where they hang up, or the unwanted emails. It's so much bullshit right now going on with these cyber terrorists, and it's manifesting into the flesh, 3D. So we all need to get, prep up and make sure we're taking all the precautionary measures necessary to keep our safety intact, and others around us as well, because like I said yesterday, when people start dying, that's when I start speaking up even greater. So if they thought that they were going to be terrorizing me, and then, in an attempt to incite fear and confusion, in an attempt to mind control me and my body and my behavior so that they can attempt to silence me, that's not going to work. I'm just going to talk more now. I'm just going to be louder now. I'm just going to be producing more videos now. And I'm going to continue to talk about this specific issue. And I'm not going to stop. So, sometimes things happen to people that change them, right? It kind of changes them forever. And unfortunately, when a bad thing happens to a good person and it changes them forever, it becomes the one thing that they continue to talk about because it needs to be discussed. People need to be informed so that they can protect themselves. Absolutely. And I won't stop that. So I don't see, these gang stalkers going anywhere anytime soon. I don't see the occult aggressions being portrayed in the media either through satire or sub-parody or subliminal messages or mixed messaging. I don't see any of this has subsided. I don't see that any of it is going anywhere anytime soon. So I'll just keep talking. I'll just keep pumping out these videos, as many as I can. The more the better, to raise the awareness. So to keep and prevent people from using their device to, let's say, get money, to make money, to find jobs, to find gigs, which, by the way, when there's a virus downloaded to your device, every single time that you do an application, it registers as spam. So you won't get a job. So you will find yourself at the welfare office eventually, and that's what the program is intended for, to facilitate impoverishment. To basically, if you speak out on the corruption, you're going to be conspired against, and if you say anything woke, you're going to be broke in one way, shape, or form. And then they ritualize this practice because it's an occult aggression. That's what an occult does in order to, beat their victims and their trafficked victims into submission. This is, come on, bro. You think that you think none of these celebrities traffic people? All of these people just throwing themselves at them, they don't traffic anybody? Okay. How do you figure? I'd be willing to bet that most of these celebrities actually have slaves, and that's the real reason why they're rich in the first place. You honestly think that they had it within themselves to produce all of this propaganda? This vaccine, these boosters, this slave to the needle type propaganda came from one person specifically. One person's cell phone data produced all of that propaganda. It's a tactic and a technique called social engineering. Now, I write about it on my Facebook. Like I said, it's really easy to find, but it's when they're spying, data harvesting, they take all of those secrets and then they exploit them one way, shape, or form in the media. And then they will reverse engineer some of the energy that they've harvested. And so some of the things that you'll see are totally out of alignment with the person that they're targeting. But I think one of the movies that they've come out with recently, I believe it's called Sea Beast, and I do think it's on, if I remember correctly, I think it's on Netflix. Now, I've done away with Netflix and Disney because of all of the social engineering and all of the movies that I've ghost produced. Literally, they got the idea for these movies using one person's cell phone data. Not just the movies and the books and the podcasts, all the propaganda too. They exploit their targets down to the breath that the target takes. That's what a slave is. Down to the farts that the target makes, anything that it does, social engineering exploits human vulnerability. So it makes all of its money exploiting humans, treating them like slaves. And that's what they call, in their high society, culture. When they've conspired against somebody that lays down the foundation for their entire culture. And I just would like to know, why is it that somebody like myself has to take on such a huge project? I mean, this is clearly above my pay grade, okay? It's not my job to politic for both sides. I'm not even a Republican or a Democrat. I'm a liberal, technically. I would technically fall under the more of the liberal side. I mean, I have tattoos and I'm very friendly and I'm outspoken, so that's pretty liberal. And you know, before I was canceled and started becoming mobbed by celebrity lapdog gang stalkers, terrorists, I was clearing 25 grand cash in 3 months modeling. So I don't want to hear this, this manipulation tactic trying to wipe my brain and my memory of what I know to be true. I am exactly who I say I am. I am a singer, songwriter, author, model, musician. And I don't understand, and I want to know why you don't see any celebrities discussing this topic. Why is it that when you go on to YouTube, there are no celebrities coming out, not even any mainstream, like counselors or coaches? I don't really even see any of them discussing. Some of them are a little, some of them are kind of mainstream, but not so much. I don't really know. I'm not looking at the numbers, and I don't really care. My point is you don't see any of A-list celebrities, B-list celebrities, C-list celebrities, none of them. They will not discuss this. You don't ever hear them shedding light on this corruption. Ever. And I think it's because it's a ritual. Like I said just moments ago, it's how they lay the foundation for their society, for their culture. So, I mean, and I really genuinely believe that's one of the reasons why Jesus is so iconic. The story of Jesus is so iconic and so needed in order for these powers that be to slam their hammer down, so to speak, So there's no really nice way to say that, but, bear with me, because I'm doing my best. And, it would be really nice to have somebody second what I'm saying, so that way I don't continue to get treated this way. But it's an entire, occult practice. So it's this group of people who are passively aggressively, expressing their hate towards one person, whether it's, electronic harassments or dream downloaded sequences, you know what I'm saying? So, there's so many, several different ways and several different tactics for them to do this. And I don't understand why does it have to be my responsibility, right? Why do I have to be the one to bring this magic carpet, to lift it up and to shed light on all of these secrets that are underneath this? And another reason why they don't discuss it is because they're all tapped in and they're all under the NDAs, and so they can't discuss any of this stuff. They won't discuss any of this stuff, and even if they did, they risk losing it all. So this is the huge ocean that they put to keep, them rich and basically us poor. And so there's no getting across this water. And this water is all symbolic, like you see it in the Truman Show, and you see it everywhere in all these dream sequence movies, and not all of them, but the ones that do have the water, it's spiritually symbolic, and they're using that as a way to say that that's your data. So using the data, they keep this huge ocean, and they create a power gap. This is the way that they keep their power, and keep their money, and then also to keep their targets poor, impoverished, homeless, broken families. So it is interesting because in order to make it, you have to be extremely corrupt. And if you're not, chances are you just won't make it. Unless, like I said, I just so happen to might catch a break in court and get some sort of justice. But yeah, why is it that when it comes to something extremely corrupt or some corruption scandal, you never hear about it coming from any of these A-list celebrities, and you always hear about it. You always hear of it coming from somebody who's on the rise because they've been conspired against severely, and I'm lucky to be alive. And so another thing too is it's like, it can't be top secret if everybody knows, right? And so that's why they're under NDAs and they have gag orders on them so that they can't spill the beans, so to speak, and top secret knowledge doesn't become common knowledge, because that's how you keep people slaves anyways. Now, my spirit self, the highest version of me already knows better, and I've already risen above this in the spirit. In the spirit realm, this battle's already won. And so, whatever happens from this point on, I've already risen above it spiritually. This is the movement, rising above this right here. This is the movement. It has nothing to do with race. Nothing at all. It has every single thing to do with human trafficking, human sex trafficking, child sexual assault, abuse, child abuse, and gender biases. Doesn't have a single thing to do with race. It has everything to do with the abuses that are being inflicted on women and children, orphans and foster kids. Keep your name off my shit. Alright, so anyways, I wanted to just go over a little story of my childhood again and kind of switch gears here and just basically start advocating for foster children like I typically do. And so I'm going to go ahead and switch gears into that direction. Here we go. So I had a friend who met my brother and I in the CPS foster care system. Now, at the time I was staying with my mama Tammy, my foster family, my forever family. And his father worked in the military, I do believe, if my memory serves me correctly. So he moved around quite a bit too. And so I stayed with my foster family in Lemoore at the time, and I know that this is going to be like a foreign language to those of you who don't know anything about foster children, and also to those of you who are orphan phobic. So this is probably going to be the cringiest part of this entire series for you, for those of you who are discriminatory. So anyways, at some point during the pandemic, thanks to social media, I was able to reconnect and catch up with this old childhood friend online. And wouldn't you know it, that's when he had informed me that my brother and I were the inspiration behind his career choice to work with foster children and also to settle down and start a family of his own. So during the pandemic, I guess at some point he settled down and recently welcomed his first child into the world. So let me just start by saying congratulations. I don't know baby's name, but congratulations, baby. So anyways, before my friend became a father for the first time, I noticed he had a dog. I was bit by a Dalmatian when I was about 4 or 5, and I've never been a dog person personally. I always knew I never wanted a dog as far as I was concerned in my past and before my heart changed. I had a change of heart. So anyways, I wasn't a dog person. I wasn't attracted to dog people. I don't know why, but there was just this spirit of loneliness that dog people or dog owners always possessed, and it was a turn off to me. So I always right. And so like I was saying, also too, I've had a lot of family members who are big animal owners, and one I guess is okay, but once you get to 12 or 10 plus, that's kind of when I draw the line. Just a little bit. I'm not trying to be mean, but these people are unattractive to me. The people who have more than one dog, I don't get it. Why don't you have kids? There's other options. Are you aware? you know. So human babies are a lot cleaner than fucking furry, hairy-ass dogs, okay? But anyways, so I always knew that I never wanted a dog, okay? Let me just emphasize on that, because until recently, my whole life changed, okay? And I'm not being dramatic. I'm dead ass. I fucking hated dogs so much before, excuse me. And, you know, I had a change of heart. So anyways, I've never had a dog. I was bit by a Dalmatian when I was about 4 or 5 years old. It was a big traumatic childhood trauma. So you know how when something's like identified with childhood trauma, you're automatically just like, fuck that, no way. Anyways, so wouldn't even entertain the idea, basically, for my whole entire life, until I just adopted my first puppy and became a dog mom for the very first time ever, right? And so, like, okay, so I had a dog when I was about 14 years old, and my mom bought me a dog once we returned home, because in the foster care system, we were never allowed to have dogs. Foster kids aren't allowed to have a lot of things. They're not allowed to go to spend time at anybody's house alone. They can't have any sleepovers. They're not allowed to use the phone. They're not allowed to have a cell phone. They're not allowed to have a car. They're not allowed to have their license or driver's license or anything like that, because they're not allowed to go anywhere. And so, and another one of the weird things about being a foster kid is that they're not allowed to have any animals. And so, well, at least we weren't. That was one of the rules. So we never had a dog growing up. And so we weren't actually allowed to get a dog until after we went home to our real mom. And the adoption that happened to me was a really strange, okay, it's a long story, and we'll eventually get there, because I plan on telling these stories a lot. Like I said, I want my kids to be able to hear these when they're adults, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to be telling a lot of little stories. So, you know, if that's something that you actually enjoy, then you're free to welcome me whenever you'd like. So, but whatever. Anyways, so, like I was saying, I had a dog when I was 14 years old, after I had moved back home with my real mom, okay? My real mom, my biological mother, the one that birthed me. All right, so, on our way to church one Sunday, there was a family that seemed pretty nice, lived out on a ranch, country house, whatever, lots of acres and lots of space for animals, for sure, kind of similar to my mom's place. And so, because she was a country woman and very nice, whatever. So, and you know, so she and her husband at the time, they decided to pull over and get my brother and I a puppy, because it was free. It was a free puppy, so why not, right? So me and my brother, we got to have our first puppy, but we didn't have it for very long. I think we had it for like a month, and the puppy was probably about 3 or 4 months in total. Years old, or not years old, but months old, and until it was accidentally hit by my mom, and my mom slain it, and it was murdered, and it was killed, and then it was laid to rest, and it was buried, and the whole 9 yards. So, like I said, that dog only lived to be about 3 or 4 months old. And so, like, I've had Joy longer than I had Honey, which, by the way, rest in peace, Honey. That was the name of the dog that was slain by my mom by accident. Now, every time I tell this story, it takes everything I have not to laugh so hard. I don't think that the death of a dog should be that funny, and nobody should laugh at anything as much as I laugh. But the reason why I laugh is because I remember how sad my mom was when she said she accidentally hit it, and I could care less. Like, I was sitting in the backseat with my friend, and she's like crying tears, right? And there's nothing funny about that. She freaked me the hell out. I'm like, what the hell? And I'm like, what happened? And she can't even talk. She's all out of breath. She's all worked up. She's like, I can't believe it, but I accidentally hit the dog, and I killed it, and you know what I'm saying? And I just crack up every time I remember this story, because I could care less. I was a freaking ornery teenager at that time. I was so glad to have friends around. Like, I was never allowed to have friends, you know, and I was constantly abused by the people who were given access to me, because they didn't appreciate me at all. Who appreciates a foster child, right? Even though you pay your mortgage with the money you make. working for the CPS system, fostering these children. So, but who cares about a foster child, right? Yeah, no. So, and nobody really does, right? Everybody that has access to these kids abuses them and uses these children for basically for attention and for money. So, and another one of the things that I wanted to say before I go any further, because I'm probably going to forget, is that the reason why I stress so much on these celebrities and these rich people who donate, because they actually have to, right? They actually have to donate, so they don't really have a choice. They're not donating because they're great people. They're donating because it's a tax write-off, along with many other reasons. But they're not donating because they care about foster children. Fuck no, they don't care. They're donating because they absolutely have no other choice, and they have to. Okay, so make no difference. Make no mistake. There's a big difference there between people who dedicate their lives, their soul, their heart, everything like that to a specific cause. And there's a big difference between that versus the people who are forced to donate to the very class that they fucking hate and that they continuously conspire against. Right? There's a big difference. Like, their hearts aren't in it. Right? So, like I always say, if your heart's not in it, why the fuck are you? Right? If you don't love that bitch, leave that bitch the fuck alone. Why you keep fucking with that bitch? Sorry. I'm sorry. So anyways, but my point is this, before I forget, when they donate, I hope that they know, and I feel like they do know. I feel like they do know, because they do a lot of donating, especially around the holiday season. So when they're donating all of those gifts, all of those, like gift cards, all of that money, it never makes it down to the foster child or to the orphans in the system. I hope they know that, and they need to know that. Your donations are being donated to the social workers' kids and to the social workers that work at that system. They're all going through those boxes of donations first. And make no mistake, they're not just taking it home for themselves. They're giving it to their family members, and they're giving it to their friends first. So whatever's left at the bottom of that barrel, which is fucking shit anyways, then whatever, if anything, one sock, it doesn't even have a fucking pair, like that is what gets donated. So you ain't ever donated to me. You donated to the system that helps keep you corrupt, but you never donated to me. You never donated. You're not donating to any homeless person. You're not donating to any DV shelter. You're not donating to any orphan or any foster children. You're donating to the people who work for the same system that you do. That shit that you donate never makes it to where it's supposed to be and to where it's supposed to go. And these foster kids never, ever have a good Christmas. Period. All right, so like I was saying about my beautiful blessing, Joy, my puppy that has come into my life and completely changed my heart. I know that it makes the deep state so pissed to see that my puppy has parents that are still together. Let me stop. Not like the rest of y'all's kids. Stop. I'm just kidding. My kids too. They were all raised by single parents. Shout out to all of the single parents holding it down. Single parents are where it's at, man. It's a tough job. And so it's really interesting because similarly to the way that I was raised, extremely sheltered, my son is also raised by me single-handedly. Well, and my fiance now. But I'm just saying, like, similarly, and he also lives a very sheltered life, and he pretty much just goes to school. You know, he doesn't have any after-school programs, and for now, that probably will change very soon here. But I'm gonna switch gears again, and we're gonna be again talking about the remote gang stalking. So here we have on the screen, just a little tidbit. Now, you're not going to find this information anywhere else. You might be able to look it up on Google because that's where I was able to obtain this information. Now, if this is top secret, or if this is not supposed to be, if this is a national security risk or anything like they're trying to say or make it seem like it is, then why is it on Google? Why is it so easy for me, a person like me, to find this stuff in the first place? And if the CIA works for Google, and you've got all these spies or retired spies working for Microsoft, Bing, or whatever, Google or Chrome or whatever, I don't know, I don't work there, I don't care. But my point is if you have all of these ex-CIA or retired CIA, all of these spies in these big tech corporations, then they are the ones that you need to be targeting. They are the ones that are allowing this information on Google in the first place. So I don't want to hear this, oh, you're leaking sensitive data. No, you leaked my data. So keep crying about it, because I don't give a fuck. And also, too, stop trying to fair farm me, because honestly, I'm so beyond it. I've already risen above it in the spirit. I don't care about anything else. I don't. The flesh that has these matters remaining or pertaining, and all of the stuff that's lingering, it has no room in my spirit. It has no room. There's no room for this shit in my soul. I've already risen above it. So that it's bothersome, because, you know, in these dreams, this mind control is a whole nother level. So in these dream sequences that you can see here, this tidbit explains and describes that I found on Google. So if, you know, like I said, you do your own research, you'll be able to find it too. So and I used to do a lot of, like, you know, watching videos on YouTube. I realized, you know, I spent like 10 years just sitting around watching YouTube videos, and I need to start making my own. This is crazy. So all of this time that has gone by, and I've just been sitting here talking about these issues, it's like, you know, if you're talking about an issue that is lingering in your heart or lingering on in your soul or in your spirit or on your mind, it's for a reason. You probably need to discuss it on YouTube or something like that, and not allow that to just go and fall by the wayside, because, you know, God puts a feeling inside of your heart for a reason, whether it's good or bad. So but excuse me, anyways, I was going to go over that just a second and review that. So remote gang stalking is the illegal and unauthorized abuses of advanced military grade weapons that are being used for torture programs. Torture compromises of mind reading, mind control, central nervous system control, 24/7 anywhere tracking, organized gang stalking, which is what I'm dealing with. I mention this because every single thing on this list is something that I've been subjected to. So 24/7 anywhere tracking, organized gang stalking, voice to skull, V2K, physical injury / harassment through directed energy weapons, total surveillance, mind control, body control, dream manipulation, using neural weapons, remote neural monitoring module. Using this, harassers can view all the innermost thoughts of the targeted person on a screen as clearly as one reads a newspaper. So these would be, I think, like Terminators. Like, okay, that's extreme, but I'm gonna reach out on a limb here, and that's the stretch that I'm making. So that to me it indicates some sort of a Terminator team, or some sort of assassin team that is an interdimensional being, basically. It's not an alien, it's an interdimensional being, meaning it probably travels time. It's probably a time traveler. If you think of how people accumulate wealth, it takes a lot of money, and also it takes a lot of people to be able to accumulate wealth. So anytime I think of a billionaire, I'm automatically like, time traveler. There's no way. There's no way. It's immortal, because it takes time in order to accumulate money and power. And some of the names that you've been hearing, whether they be good or bad, in the mainstream, and for the past forever, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years, they're the same names. They're the same people. So how is it that they don't ever die? Yeah, it's interesting too, because I've never heard of any president ever dying other than JFK. Why is it that JFK is the only president that's ever died? I haven't heard of any presidents ever dying anytime soon. In the last 20 years, I haven't heard of one. And so anyways, using this, harassers can view all the innermost thoughts of the targeted person on a screen as clearly as one reads a newspaper. The eyes of the target become a live camera for the trackers. Wherever the target's view is recorded on the tracker's computer or viewed by the tracker's brain,
brains using a brain-to-computer interface, brain-to-brain interface. These satellite-based technologies result in gross bypassing of fundamental human rights such as personal privacy, health, safety, data security, family security, etc. Prepackaged dream sequences are routinely downloaded to a TI's targeted individual's brain, and harassers interact with the victims while they are dreaming. Stressful traumas / shocks are also induced via artificial dreams completely wirelessly without any chip implants or electrodes, etc. Now, I don't know what etc. means because they use etc. on here in these two little tidbits that I managed to find. And, you know, this right here is such a big hit for me because this is exactly what they've been doing. This is exactly what I've been experiencing. Okay, ever since the pandemic started. Before this ritual began October 31st on Halloween 2019. All right, so like I was saying, if somebody happens to come to somebody's house, and this is kind of more on the lines of we're going into a conclusion for today's show. Okay, we're switching gears we're starting to head into the conclusion for today's show, for today's program, and this is kind of going along the lines of, you know, what you can do, if you want to be, you know, involved in organized crime, if you want to be involved in a right versus left, white versus black, male versus female, you know, it's your decision. And honestly, at this point, really, nobody has any free will. Everybody is, I mean, okay, so the reason why, you know, mentioning before I forget, let me just go back and backtrack 1 second, because the reason why mentioning the dream manipulation is so important is because these things will literally make somebody in a dream state act out their worst fears. These things will literally make somebody in a dream state believe that they're talking to God. These things in a dream state will make somebody believe that they're talking to angels or dead people. These things in a dream will come to you and they will manifest, and they will telepathically communicate to you what agency that they actually work for. And so these things are making these people believe in a dream state that God has come to them and God has told them XYZ. Or angels will come to them and angels will speak to them in a dream, and so then XYZ, whatever it says. Or demonic entities as well, that's what nightmares are. They will appear in a dream state, or it'll be somebody manipulating themselves to look like the demonic entity in a dream state. And then they will perform XYZ terrorist acts of fucking complete torture. And so when you have mind control on that level, when you have mind control that is evolved to that extreme degree, there's a problem. And so nobody's going to talk about this because everybody's tapped into the system and they rely on that money, then call me the greatest magician of all time, because I just said some of the most interesting truth that's ever been spoken, like ever. And I'm still alive. And if that's not following the calling of God, like truly, then I don't know what is. If that's not a hero, then I don't know what is. Do you know how hard it is to talk about this stuff? And then, do you know how harder it is to talk about this stuff and know without a doubt that it is true? And that everybody in reality is going to doubt the words that are coming out of my mouth because I sound crazy. And yet I'm probably the last sane person on the planet. I mean, they haven't done me in yet. I'm not gay. Right? I'm not trans. I mean, you know you've been turned out when you're trans. reason why I mention this also is to shed some light on the fact that people want to be able to talk about their sexual assault as a child, but they can't. And so as a way to say that they were sexually abused or molested or raped as a child, they come out as gay. That's their little subliminal or passive-aggressive way of saying that they were molested or raped or whatever as a child. Because they can't actually say it. They're not given the free will to express that. So they have to fucking come up with creative other ways to be able to tell people without saying it specifically that they were fucking raped or molested or tortured sexually as a child. And so, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and try to switch gears here to the conclusion of today's program. So if somebody comes out and to somebody's house, let's just say, or to somebody, and they say, you're going to be a part of an FBI investigation. Now, what can you do? Well, first of all, you can start talking about the very same things that I'm talking about. If you want to do anything, start writing. You can literally copy and paste every single thing that I've provided in regards to this cause, and then just keep sharing it. It's really that easy. But it's more than that, because if somebody comes out to somebody's house and they say, you're going to be a part of an FBI investigation, we want you to watch this person or help us watch this person and their family and watch and look over their house. It will only happen if these people belong to the organized crime group. And if this ever happens to you, you need to make sure that you contact authorities immediately and you report this organized crime group. You make sure you get this person, whoever they claim to be, working for the FBI. They don't work for the FBI. It's private investigators. They're not FBI. Okay, so if anybody ever comes to you and they say that they are working for the FBI, they're not. They're criminals. They're organized criminals working for a PI group under the guise of FBI. That's their cover. They're fucking lying. And you need to contact authorities immediately. You need to gather their information and you need to report them as an organized crime group because they are not FBI.
So this group of organized crime, this organized crime group, it's a PI group of private investigators. They're not even real private investigators either, technically. They're not. A lot of them are criminals. They get released on bail or whatever it is that they get released on, and then they agree to stalk and harass people and fish them as a way to give back to whoever it is that they're serving, the party that they serve. And so in a lot of ways, they are nothing more than a group of terrorists, and they need to be reported to the authorities immediately. And there needs to be more people getting on board with this, because the way I see it is police officers are not very smart, okay? They're not educated either. They're not. They have no education. And they don't even protect and serve like they go to school to learn how to do. So you have to wonder, one has to wonder, like, why would somebody become a police officer in the first place? Like, what is it that they're trying to hide and cover? Because really, honestly, you always have to look out and watch out and be wary of the people who are on the defense. What are they on the defense for? Okay? Now, I don't know about you, but I worked in retail and I did a lot of, I was a makeup artist for a really long time, and I worked in retail, so the things that I sold, you could find at Macy's, right? So, or Ulta. So, the things that I sold, I dealt with a lot of the public for many, 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 many years, and also, too, I worked at a movie theater, so you're talking about Twilight premiere, you know what I'm saying? There's tons of people. There's popcorn up to your fucking knees at an event like that, you know? So, no doubt, police
police officers who are corrupt or on the wrong side of history. And any time that they have a chance to try to flex their spiritual component or their... Let's get technical, okay? So it comes down to whether or not somebody has a conscience. If you don't have a conscience, then you don't know the difference between right and wrong, and you don't have any type of a moral compass. Now, there are some people that swear to be all about the golden rule, and that rule is do unto others as you would wish or would have done unto you. Now, there are some people that want to get fucked and raped. These people go around fucking and raping people all the time. Okay? Excuse me, pardon me, but that's the truth. And rapists want to be raped, so they go around and they rape other people. It's just kind of their logic. They wouldn't mind if they were to be fucked at all. And so, because rape culture is such a huge issue in today's society, and nobody wants to take this on because it's too big of a project. It's above their pay grade. They don't... Not only that, but most people don't have a say because they don't actually know, you know? So my point is it's like when you're working retail, you always have to look out for people who are extremely like on the defense for no reason. And so like, okay, so in my new job, in this new position that I've acquired online, my coworkers are extremely racist. They're extremely racist, and they're on the defense saying and pointing the finger at their victim, and they're calling the victim their target, their speared target that they got rich on. Why would it matter if the slave that made you rich is racist? It doesn't matter. When you made billions of dollars on the pandemic alone, and that's what they do to everybody. Now, these things have advanced technology to the degree that they sit around watching the same billions of people all day long, and they've seen it all. They know how many hairs are on your head exactly like the way the Bible describes, and many other things. That's just one way for me to express this specific issue. But they already know. They already know who's about that life and who's not. They already know who's intellectual and who's not. They've seen every single thing and then some about you. They've seen all of your thoughts and then some. They know what you're about. So now when you work in retail and somebody's on the defense for no reason, it's highly possible that it's because this person is responsible for theft, and or they're insecure, and or they have a guilty conscience because they've done something. People don't accumulate a mind, filthy mind, riddled with insecurities because they've accumulated guilt, one conspiracy after another, after another, after another. No, these people are insecure for a fucking reason, and you need to avoid insecure people like the fucking plague. These people are on the defense for a reason. God only knows what that reason is, while the government knows too. It makes no sense for anybody to involve themselves with somebody that's on the defense for seemingly no reason. Seemingly no reason. Like if somebody starts treating you funny all of a sudden out of nowhere, you need to question, why is this person acting weird? Like all of a sudden, out of nowhere. Why are they so defensive? What did they do? What are they? Why are they so insecure? Why are they so guilty? What is it that they're doing behind the scenes, and or to somebody or whatever, that they need to go around with the word salad, unable and incapable of fucking talking correctly, unable and incapable of ordering their fucking food correctly? They're so much fucking mental health crisis stimulating and deriving from fucking Hollywood alone, from their obsessive, compulsive, motherfucking outrageous envy. Like, these things that come out of Hollywood are jealous, like, to the gods. There's no beginning, there's no end. I've never fucking seen jealousy like this, and this envy only comes from Hollywood. Why do you think that these men and women in Hollywood do get murdered and conspired against? Because they're fucking envied. They're not hated. Y'all need to sit down and go back to school and take some fucking more lessons, okay? Some more spiritual lessons. You motherfuckers don't even know what hate is. You're jealous. It's like some little fucking kid shit. Sibling rivalry type of shit. Where somebody else has something that you want but you can't obtain without stealing, cheating, lying, right? Hacking, spying. You want to be that person so bad fucking secretly, not because they have money, but because they stimulate, they get attention naturally that you can't have because it's not meant for you. You're not the favorite. You're not the baby. You might have been 20 years ago, but you're not anymore. There's a new favorite. There's a new baby, and it's not you. So take that fucking sibling rivalry somewhere the fuck else. It ain't got no fucking place here in my life. It has never had any place here in my life because I've been checking them bitches since I was 1, period. And from now on, every single thing a woman does is absolutely genius, okay? Every single thing a woman does is absolutely beautiful, okay? Stop hating. Also, too, these people are not rich. Their slaves are the rich ones. And these people owe their fucking slaves restitution. There's nothing more to it. Alright, so, but anyways, it's like dealing with a fucking toddler at the end of the day. Also, their voices don't fucking matter. That's why they're screaming for fucking attention right now. This comes down to a word salad, what somebody said versus somebody else. But it's one gang of stalkers versus one targeted specific individual that is... Alright, so anyways, like I was saying, it's all of these gang stalkers versus one targeted individual who is absolutely smarter and absolutely stronger in every sense of the way. In every matter of the... Why does it take so many people to try to make one person feel insecure in the first place? I'll wait. You got a job, I got a job. I'm changing the world every single social engineer at a time. Every social engineering attack at a time. What are you doing? You're a billionaire, millionaire. You don't have the voice that it takes to change the world. Who are you again? So you mean that whole field of people that you work for are going to be nothing but ashes in the future? So you know that puts you in that category. You sign yourself and your whole entire generation, your lineage following up, because you think that this is just simply going to stop once I die. You can kill a person, and this is where you and I draw the line in the matter of differences, because you can kill a person, you can kill all the people it takes. You can't kill a movement. There's the defining difference. You can kill a person, but you can't kill a movement. These people that are out here that are still fighting to have their voices heard, they will have their day. Okay? And they're not fighting alone. Not in the flesh and not in the spirit, because I'm right here. Okay? And I'm the only voice that matters. I'm the only voice that has mattered in the past 3 years, plus. I'm the reason Bill Gates left his wife. If you want to get technical, that's what a psyop is. Thinking he was going to honey trap a fucking gold digger? Bitch, please. I don't think so. Not on my worst day. Okay? What's her name? Grimes? I don't even know her name. Elon Musk's baby mother. By the way, they don't have real babies. They have AI babies. These motherfuckers aren't the same thing as carrying a child in your womb for 9 months. It's not the same fucking thing. It's not the same thing at all. It's not the same method to the madness. If you understand, they use technology, and so therefore there is no waiting. They get what they need immediately. If they mean to abuse somebody in the most inhumane way, they can do that immediately. Okay? My name has been identity theft. That's how great my name is. That's how great my name is. All of these gang stalkers are running amok underneath my name. Okay? Meanwhile, I don't even know the name of one of Grimes' songs. Not one. I cannot sit here and tell you what any of the music that she claims to produce and write and sing. I cannot name to you one of that bitch's songs. Not one. That must be why her husband or her baby daddy, excuse the fuck out of me, is so obsessed and all up in my dreams. For these aliens, by the way, being in somebody's dreams is greater than being in somebody's DMs. Okay? It's not the equivalent, because they have gone through greater measures to be in this specific person's dreams than they would go through to be in somebody's DMs. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, in order for them, these aliens or these interdimensional beings, if they want to target somebody and abuse them, it doesn't take 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Like, it's not going to take 5 kids later. No, they can do it in 5 minutes or less, period. If they want to exploit somebody, if they want to fuck somebody off, they can do it in 5 minutes or less. And this person will spend the next 5 years of their life trying to fucking play catch up with these aliens and talk about the things that they've experienced while they were being abused in this little 5-minute fucking orgy session. Just so that these motherfuckers can go to actual orgies and be boss-ass bitches in fucking real parties, try to act like they're somebody special so that they can all come together and talk about one specific target. So they all have something to lay their fucking foundation upon, that which they were never strong enough to accumulate in the first place on their own, naturally, organically. You were not able to generate any propaganda for Black Lives Matter. I did that. You did not. I did that. You did not. I did that. You did not. It always has something to say. Then it tries to act hard or cold or like ice when it all of a sudden starts giving me the silent treatment once I've made a video clapping back, or once I've opened up my big fat ass mouth and said something in regards to the abusive process and the occult abusive practice that's been bestowed upon myself and my family and my supporters. It's so funny because these motherfuckers sit around and have whole entire conversations about a person that's not even in the conversation. You are more than welcome to join my conversation at any fucking time. Stop trying to intrude and invade my fucking dream space, stupid fucking dumb bitch. You're welcome to talk to me anytime you want. Come to my front door. I will talk to you. I don't owe it to you to be nice. You owe it to me. Okay? I wasn't locked on to you as a target of mine. You were locked on to me. You made a huge mistake. Like, I can't stress this enough. Like, you made one of the biggest fucking mistakes of your fucking life. Of your entire lineage's lives. Of your entire past lives. You made the biggest mistake in the world ever. On every fucking dimension, in every time zone, in every fucking reality. You made the biggest fucking mistake of your life coming for me. Alright, so these people have passive-aggressive conversations. and some that are realistic. For the past, I don't even know, several years, they've all been discussing me. Every single podcast that you've watched, they're talking about criminals. I'm not a criminal. I've been in trouble with the law one time. I've never been in trouble ever again. And it is interesting because these things that keep trying to come up with something end up with nothing more than shit. You got shitted on? That's why you're mad? Because you went to the best school that money could buy? Just so you could sit around from fucking Mars thinking you're better than everybody, watching these civilians take a shit on you? Wow. I'd be pretty upset too. If my parents were the richest folks in the world, and I went to the greatest fucking school on the planet, the best money could buy, and I gotta be on Mars watching civilians that will never mean anything, according to you, take a shit in a public restroom. Yeah, I'd be hating my fucking life too. Like, I'd want to creep up into their dreams while they were dreaming just to be the fucking Sandman or fucking whatever. Also, I'd be jealous too. Fuck. You mean to tell me I went to a school that was so great that it's a secret? That's why I operate from a fucking UFO in the sky or whatever, so to speak. And all I do is sit around gaslighting and fucking stalking and harassing electronically people that just took a fucking shit on me? You mean to tell me that your parents they're the richest people in the world. They have all the money that there is. That's why they live in space on a UFO, on a satellite, or in Mars, right? Your parent, not mine. Not mine. I don't sit around watching you take a shit on me. Oh, that'll be the day. Civil War will definitely break out that day. Because I'm precious. Unlike you, I'm actually cared for. In the spirit where it actually matters, nobody cares for you. That's why you are on another planet or in the sky, wherever you are, far away from them. Because they don't care about you. That's why they send you to board school in the first place, because they can't wait to get rid of you. So anyways, it entails a whole lot to sit around talking about or discussing a specific target for years. Years! And you're not even going to invite that person to the conversation? You were invited to my fucking show the first time I ever hosted one. So how are you going to call me any type of name? You're allowed to come to my front door. I posted it on Facebook for everybody to know. You can come and talk to me anytime you want. I don't have a problem with you. I'm not discriminatory towards you like you try to say I am. That's how much full of shit you are. That's how much you want everything that I have. Every single thing that I'm about, you wish it was you. That's what happens when you manifest karma. You manifest the exact opposite of you. Every time you're out here conspiring and fucking over somebody that you think the mainstream media wants you to fuck over, you're manifesting the opposition. And they will come eventually. Oh, and when they do, the world will change. Finally. Finally. And you will get your fucking ass whooped. In the spirit and in the flesh. Any motherfucking day. Any motherfucking day. These motherfuckers want to flex their wealth so motherfucking much. Bitch, let me flex my fucking badassery too. Why not? Oh, then it's a problem, right? Because I'm more badass than you. Physically, spiritually, in every type of fucking way. You got rich using me as a slave, so don't even try to manipulate me into thinking that you were capable, strong, and powerful enough to fucking break me. You never broke me, bitch. I'm not even bruised yet. I have not one bruise on me yet. So how am I broke if I'm not even bruised? Okay, come on. Okay, come on. All right. Let's preach, preacher. Why not? You do. You sit around telling fucking lies, and that's one of the reasons why I went ahead and allowed myself the privilege to go ahead and start this program, because you've been talking bullshit out of your ass for the last 3.5 years. You've been talking lies for 3+ years. There's not one thing that I can come along and say that's any worse than your fucking lie. At this point, I'm just playing motherfucking damage control. I'm coming behind you like one of your fucking fall guys that don't even get paid to clean up your fucking stupid ass mess. Like a real maid. Like a real fucking slave. And the people that are listening to this podcast are being set free in the name of fucking truth. Not because of anything you did. You don't give a fuck. You don't even care about yourself, let alone your kids or your family. That's why you continue to conspire against good people. Because you want to manifest negative karma. And you will. And you have manifested that. That's why I'm here now. That's why you don't have what it takes to take me out. While you sit over here talking such a big-ass fucking game, I'm in the flesh. Where the fuck are you? All talk. All talk. So whatever, you sit around talking about people that you secretly wish that you could fucking be. One way, shape, or form. You sit around and you discriminate so much that you have conversations for years about a person that you secretly wish that you could be. Because this person stands for every single thing that you're not about. They're a spiritual gangster in every single way that you're not of. Because you don't have a spirit, you're unconscious, you don't have a conscience, you don't have a moral compass. All of these people sitting out here talking about, no. Is it a man talking about a woman? He's a wife beater. He's a rapist. He's probably gay. Secretly. Doesn't have it within himself to come out publicly. And so, like, while you sit around calling me racist, I have open conversations where you're welcome to come and join me and call me racist. But you won't. Because you're racist and sexist. And you want to fucking feel like you fucking pimped somebody. Bitch, you can even pimp your grandma's asshole. That's how not fucking pimping you are. Like, if I hear one more song about pimps and hoes, that's it. That's it. If I have one more dream, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, somebody's dead, and I don't give a fuck. That's it. There's no time frame. Just like when you see an owl. There's no time frame on that shit. Just know I know what you did, and somebody's gonna die because of it, period. No, there's no time frame. You know, for a long time I worried so much about being and sounding crazy until I realized there is no crazy. There's no test to test for schizophrenia. These people who are out here claiming that people are schizophrenic, what test do you know of? Can hear voices. That's not alien technology. That's not above government. What test do you know of that alerts for foreign voices? Okay, that's what the FBI's for. Okay? They scout for foreign intelligence. Because they want to know everything. But they don't. They don't know everything. They don't. They lack an entire component to what it takes, for what it would even take to intel, or even in like, you can't even begin to it. You can't even begin to know what infinity means, which is why when you Google it, Google don't even have, you want to make Google feel stupid? Here's a fucking surefire way to make Google feel stupid. You want to know what the secret is? Ask it, what is infinity? It doesn't know. It can't help you. It won't tell you anything. That's how stupid Neuralink is. It's so stupid, it needs artificial intelligence. Because it lacks a spiritual component. It claims to be all-knowing and all-seeing, and yet it lacks the one thing that it takes to be godlike. The main component. Okay, so if you make a recipe and you leave out the main component, what do you have left? Shit. You got shit. My nigga, you got shit left. That's what you got. You came up with nothing more with all that alien technology than shit. You got shit and blood, like the demonic entity that you are, all over your face and hands. It's poetic.
Alright, so it is really scary and exciting to know that when you are doing the one thing that the gang stalkers and remote gang stalkers and the group terror stalkers, the terrorists and the disinformation agents try and work so hard to prevent you from doing, when you're able to do the one thing that they've worked so hard and paid so much taxpayer money to stop you from doing, when you're able to do that in any case and still proceed, it's so hard for them to prevent me from doing what the right thing. It's so hard for them to try to incite to me the idea of pedophilia, in which we will get to. And so all of these people in the mainstream media that are even entertaining the idea of pedophilia, if they were not a victim of child sex assault, if they weren't in the CPS system, if they were not orphaned as a result of drug abuse and sexual assault and child trafficking, if they weren't victims of rape culture themselves, what the fuck are they doing inciting this in the first place? The only reason why an actual criminal would do the only thing that it takes to be like their icon, their god, their celebrity crush, if the only thing it takes for them to be like them is to commit a crime, that crime being pedophilia, or rape, or incest, or anything along those demonic natures, that line of that spiritual host. Why are they talking about it? They owe the victims that they're talking about restitution. They don't know what it's like to be a child of sexual assault. They don't know what it's like to be raised in the foster care system by a black woman. They don't know what it's like to have an adopted family that's black. They don't know what it's like to have a fucking foster family that speaks another language than them as a result and as a punishment for their pedophilia. Right? And they've been manipulated to believe that in order to be like these celebrities, they need to be pedophilic, because that's what these celebrities do. Now, I will have you know, there's a contrast to that is extremely bold. And it would kill you before you even had a chance to alert your people. That's how bold it is. It will steal you like a thief in the night, just when you think everything is golden. And it does not care. It does not care about who you care about. Okay? It does not. As a matter of fact, stop caring about anybody. That's kind of the point here, right? If it gets to the point where dads are being shamed for being dads, and women are being shamed for being moms,
crackheads. You got a bunch of fucking crackheads that don't actually care about their overprivileged life that they've been blessed with. They don't care about the kids that they've had. They'll have more. Duh! Overnight. Like they can get 50 to 100 bitches pregnant tonight. Alright? They don't care about their wives. Are you kidding? They'd much rather employ a team of Terminators to download a fucking dream sequence. Because that's what's really getting them off these days. If you're not a victim, he ain't coming for you. And neither is she. And that's the fucking facts, baby. That's what happens when your leaders, your democratic leaders, your democratic leaders, your democratic leaders. That's what they are. Rich people who don't have any consideration. They're completely racist. They're completely xenophobic. They're completely sexist. Oh my God, are you kidding? That sounds like a life. Like, these motherfuckers seek to do nothing more than the most evilest thing on the fucking planet that you can even fucking fathom. That's raping, torturing, and murdering 1-year-old babies. Fucking given. Fucking given. Are you kidding? That's what we eat for salad on Wednesdays. And you have to ask yourself, genuinely. Just like that. Genuinely. Just like that. Genuinely. Let me stop. You have to ask yourself, why would a person be possessed to do such a thing in the first place? You want to know why? Because for every equal, there is an opposition. For everything that happens in the world, the same exact thing happens at the opposite end of the spectrum, and vice versa. Why is it that I take so much joy sitting around talking about gang stalkers here today? With you all here today. Not yesterday, not the day before, not tomorrow. Right now. Why did I just take a fucking 2-hour segment out of my whole entire life to dedicate this program not only to those no longer with us and to foster children, orphans, but also to the future baby versions of me that have yet to come? Because I'm nothing more than a baby version of my grandmother, who I've never even met. I've only met my grandmother one time. One time, and like the dog, it wasn't long enough to really recall it all before it died forever. Okay? That's how segregated the foster care system is towards the natural. Good Lord, have mercy on my soul, because God knows I'm trying. Now, I've been brought from a whole nother dimension, a whole nother realm, a whole nother lifetime. I've been brought from a whole nother lifetime just to be here with you all today to say exactly this. Exactly this. Because if it didn't matter, I wouldn't say it at all. Why would anybody with a voice that matters? Now, mind you, I sing better than Whitney Houston did on crack. Okay? My voice matters, and my voice is so powerful, not because of anything anybody else ever did, but because I am the singer-songwriter that I say that I am. And all of these people that you see, I give them the credit, and I allow them to continue being the amazing artists that they are because I love them for that. And I do that by not turning up on them and singing their songs. Because if I sang their songs even just one time for 15 seconds, they wouldn't have a job anymore. They wouldn't have a job anymore. Do you understand what I'm saying? My talent comes from another lifetime. These people, if I were to sing their song for 30 seconds, not even 15, They wouldn't have a job anymore. That's how much about that life that I say I am that I'm actually about. So I can do all the ranting and raving. It's not going to take me or separate me from my calling ever. In any dimension, at any plane, on any timeline, on any fucking zone, in any galaxy, in any universe, these fucking aliens can fucking never fucking period.